time series of if you look at the precipitation versus relative humidity versus soil moisture, we see here that this red time series is the relative humidity, and this is from the 2011-2012 drought in the Anza-Borrego. If you look at this time series, and this green line is the drought threshold. If we fall below this threshold, we have a drought signal. So here we see the drought signal with relative humidity earlier than precipitation, and then precipitation earlier than soil moisture. So this shows that we could see the drought signal with relative humidity earlier than precipitation.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, and then I've tried to look at for how many months we can detect the drought earlier. So on average, if you look at all the drought periods, it could be around 1.3 months, and it's in around 60% of the drought events in the area we could detect this drought earlier than the precipitation. This one could be used specifically for farmers or water resource managers, specifically for farmers if they know some information for the drought, so they could manage their the irrigation systems, or they could manage their crop management, what to plant, what not to plant, and when to plant. And also here for also the flowers and plants, this could also be very helpful. If we know the drought signals earlier than precipitation, we could know the information, so how it's going to affect the flower and plant life. The conclusion is that this is very potential. This is a very potential capability of relative humidity in terms of drought detection. So we've always looked at the precipitation. Now this is another basically climate variable that has never been thought to be used for drought monitoring, but this has a very important. This has a very huge potential for drought detection, and we need to use this relative humidity and along also with other variables. We're not going to say that only use this one for the whole drought detection. We always need to combine some variables together, looking at different perspectives, looking at other variables such as temperature or precipitation, a combination of all of them, and to see how the climate changes and how the drought situation changes over time. Project that I used to work on for the past 2 years, and so the idea was again from the relationship between precipitation and relative humidity, and using the hypothesis that the relative humidity could detect the droughts earlier. The reason why was that we're not expecting precipitation when we have low relative humidity. And then I looked at not only the California and Anza-Borrego, I also looked at the whole entire world. And this is the location, the entire world, and this shows that in around 60% of all the events around the world, we could detect the drought earlier with relative humidity than precipitation, earlier or at the same time. And looking at the entire globe, the mean lead time of relative humidity is around 1.6 months than precipitation. And then for this project, I focused on the Anza-Borrego and used my data to look specifically at the Anza-Borrego time series to see how this hypothesis is applied for Anza-Borrego. And my data is 1 degree resolution, is around that would cover the whole park, the whole Anza-Borrego State Desert.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, that's very interesting to use, and that's a very huge potential.
Yeah, interesting. So where do you see this going in the future?
Yeah, again, as I said, this is very interesting to me. I'm going to what I'm going to work on is to specifically look at this index to see where this index has more capabilities than other places. Maybe it's going to be on coasts or coastlines, or maybe inland. We're going to see which parts the relative humidity has more potential than other ones. And also, the other important thing is to look at the combination of relative humidity with other variables. Again, for drought monitoring, we need to use multiple data. We need to combine our data sources. Looking at droughts from different perspectives is very important, and I believe that we need to combine multiple variables to improve our models, to improve the detection of droughts for monitoring as well as prediction.
Yeah, and so in a way, that's what you're all here doing, is bringing all these different.
Exactly, we're looking at different perspectives. So I'm looking at the drought situation based on their hydrological and climate data. Looking at the climate data, look at precipitation and soil moisture, and I have my colleagues working from different perspectives, from philosophy to ecology. And even if that's very important, that this work would also be combined with the data from ecology, from plants and flowers, and to see how this early detection could influence the visitors at the center, the people who come to center for seeing the beautiful flowers around the season. So that could give us some hint about the future situation of visitors also.
Right.